Frank Vogel, the Pacers head coach, joining us on behalf of Dove Men and their Father's Day campaign, which we'll address in a moment. Coach, tough to watch the NBA Finals?
Not really. It's just, it's tough not to be there. But, I think we had a terrific season and, give it another go next year.
Can you watch as a fan or are you watching as a coach?
A little of both. More as a coach, probably, just to, just see the chess match that's going on. And, I always learn every time I watch an NBA games, because I'm going to be competing against, both these teams at some point in the future. So, it's just taking it all in.
Was there a moment where things changed, where you look back now in hindsight, maybe you could have addressed it or maybe it was going to happen anyway, but that the Pacers were not the world beaters that they were for 3/4 of the season?
No, I don't think there was one moment. I think it was just a sort of a gradual thing, a series of events that just led us to struggle a little bit down the stretch, but we were able to stabilize and make a heck of a playoffs.
All right. How do you now? You can have blinders on, but you got your family, you got friends. When you start to hear you're coaching for your job, how do you address that with just your family and friends or your wife?
Well, Larry Bird was always very supportive of it. As soon as those reports came out, he was quick to my office to make sure that I understood that they weren't true. So, I just shared that with my family, and, we really didn't spend a whole lot of time thinking about it.
Got to be tough, though, when you hear it. And I heard Mark Jackson was replacing you. I mean, that's how far down the road this thing got.
That's part of the business.
If you look at, have you heard the Melo to Miami possibility? Those rumors today.
I saw the headline about it, but I didn't read too much into it.
How many stars can you have, do you think, before you have too many stars?
Many as you can get. And then you just got to get them to play together. And you got to make sure that their skill sets complement each other. Doesn't make sense to have 5 all-star centers, right? So I don't think you can have too much star power. You just got to make sure the pieces fit.
But you had guys that, and I hate when I hear this. When we're talking about how many touches I get during a game, you can't have that. And with star players, they do want the ball, but it seems like everybody now says, how many touches am I going to get? As a coach, how do you address that as far as who gets shots, who doesn't, and how they respond to not getting their touches?
My experiences with the guys that I've coached is that, our guys are more interested in winning, than touches. And it's really not about individual success. All individual, achievements or, accolades, the contracts, and all that stuff that comes afterwards is achieved with team success. So, we've had a pretty unselfish team here, with the last few years, and hasn't really been much of an issue.
Yeah, but Hibbert said that during the playoffs.
He said what?
About touches. He was complaining about his lack of touches.
Well, he was just he had a 0-point night, and he just made a mention that that the game plan wasn't to play through him, but our game plan is always to play with balance. So I think he was just answering questions about his performance.
He's Frank Vogel, the Pacers head coach, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Any conversations with Lance Stevenson during that series against the Heat with what he was doing with LeBron James?
Of course. We had a lot of conversations, and we're just it's really no different than at any point throughout the year. You're just trying to make sure that he's growing the right way, developing the right way, understanding all the pitfalls that could come along with the success that we're achieving, and make sure he's trying to handle his business in the right fashion.
You planning on having him back?
I'm hopeful, yes. We've got a special bond, he and I, as a player-coach relationship, and he's a big part of the success we were able to have the last couple of years. So we're definitely hopeful.
Do you need another point guard?
I don't think so. I think we're going to look at all options for our team, but we've got a situation where George Hill really complements the skill sets the rest of the guys on our team, whether it's Roy Hibbert and David West playing through the post, and George being a great off the ball player with his cutting ability and his 3-point shooting ability, and playmakers on the perimeter, and Paul George and Lance Stevenson that have the ball in their hands a lot. So George is a guy that really plays plays well with the ball, but plays well off the ball as well, which is what is needed with the guys that we have.
Tougher to prepare for, the Spurs or the Heat?
Tie. It's got to be a tie.
No. There's no ties here, Frank. You only wear a tie. That's it.
I really think they're both very difficult to prepare for. Very different to prepare for, but I'm not going to choose. I'm sorry.
Is LeBron a better power forward than Larry Bird?
Well, I'm working for Larry Bird, so I'm going to say no.
What would Larry say?
Larry probably would say yes. He's not a. I don't want to say he's a fan, but I think he really admires LeBron James' game, what he's able to do on the basketball court, and much like the rest of the world does. I mean, we recognize him as the best player in the game today, and hoping to take him down someday.
When's the last time you saw Bird shoot?
Boy, it's probably been about a year. I mean, he'll pick up the ball, every now and then after practice, but I haven't seen him in probably about a year.
Yeah, I think his shot is slipping, though, Frank. He does.
White men can't jump.
Me at the Super Bowl in Indianapolis. I mean, I built a barn with a basketball hoop in there. I couldn't get Bird to walk across the street to shoot.
I think it's less about his shooting ability and probably just a little bit intimidated by you.
Understandable.
I'm not sure, but which is understandable too, right?
Yeah, I understand. But I thought trash talking might get him going, and even that, it's not working. So I think Larry's hiding something, and I'm just going to let the legend lie there, and just I'm not going to bother him. I'm not going to poke him anymore.
Okay.
You're working with Dove. You want to explain the Father's Day campaign you got?
Yeah, we're trying to promote a great campaign they have going. They've got a great video on YouTube as well as their website, the Dove Men Care website, called Calls for Dad, and really just highlights all the ways that dads are needed by their children, and recognizes all their contributions. So with Father's Day right around the corner, it's a great campaign.
Well, Frank, good luck in the off season. I know you got some decisions to make, but thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for having me on.
All right, it's Frank Vogel, Pacers head coach.